We are so excited today because
Trailblazers.
We here on Trailblazers today have Anthony Siblall from Premier Tech, who is the Vice President of Strategic
Development.
Strategic Development. That's right.
You looked at me for help.
I know, right? Wow, boy. Sometimes she helps me out. Every once in a while, Anthony, she helps me out. So
welcome, Anthony.
Yes, welcome. If you wouldn't mind giving us a little bit of info about you, about what you do at Premier Tech, what Premier Tech does, and how you got where you are. And then we'll just pepper you with questions.
I love it.
Okay, well, great to see you both, and thanks for having me aboard. I've been with PT now we call it PT affectionately. Been with them for just past my 28th anniversary, to be honest. We are a manufacturer of automation technologies in the packaging realm. So, any factory processes around packaging, we design, manufacture solutions that help our clients gain that automation that they're looking for, either for safety reasons, activity increase, volume increase, labor reduction, and these are the things that sort of drive us these days, is really around safety and the fact that people can't find the labor in the last 5 to 6 years. It's been tough. So that's really driven our growth. When I joined PT 28 years ago, we were about 250 people, and now we're over 5,000 people manufacturing in 13 countries. So the growth has been astounding. It's been a lot of fun.
Wow, that is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, here's my one question for you. When you say automation and safety, can you give us an example of maybe one of the products or one area of business that you help automate for people?
Well, where we really took off was when our clients had difficulty finding and keeping people for the simple step where it used to be easy to get people to do these repetitive motion steps. Mm-hmm. So, for example, taking a 25-pound bag of flour and stacking on a skid, stacking these large bags so that they can be shrink wrapped and then shipped out to the final customers. 30 years ago, you could find people to do that for less than minimum wage. Well, you know what? You can't find people that do that in some states, in some countries. It's not even legal to have people lifting 50-pound bags anymore. Some states, when you can find the people, you can't afford them. In some states, it's not even legal. In some states, it is still legal, but these people they're getting injured. It's repetitive motion. So it's not in vogue. It's not in vogue anymore to have this kind of manual labor. And this is where automation comes into play. We're not stealing jobs. We're not eliminating jobs. We're not putting people out of work. This is work that people can't or don't want to do anymore.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So if I'm doing the math right, Anthony, you started at Premier Tech in 1996, which is correct. Bizarre to me, because what that means is that was I think Amazon had been around for 2 or 3 years at that point, but was still mostly just selling books. There was no Google. Most of us didn't.
That's the year the internet came out, I think, right? 1996.
Well, no.
Internet.
Yeah, no, the internet had been around for quite a while.
Never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about.
But it depends if you're a nerd like me and know about ARPANET and all of that other stuff.
Whoa.
So lots has changed in 28 years. I'm curious to know what you've seen is the biggest evolution for you as a leader and you as an organization has kind of happened over time.
Well, you know what? There's a couple of phases where that I could highlight for you. Like, and Bruce, it's funny you mentioned, and Gail, did the internet exist? Well, it existed, but was it utilized in day-to-day business? Certainly not in our case in 1996. In our group, we were, like I said, we were 200 and some people, and I think we had 3 laptops that were being shared within the group. Most of us had, not all, but most of us had a desktop. but there were only 3 laptops. I remember you had to sign up and say, okay, I need it for that day because I'm going to visit a customer that day. So you actually had to reserve the laptop. So it wasn't until, and I do remember this, 1998, when we all got laptops and an email address. And so that was sort of the transition towards this mobile way to work. Didn't happen until I'd been with them for a couple of years. So yeah, it was mid 1998 where we started to act in a mobile automated way. And then obviously some significant events occurred in time. 9/11, that affected us certainly in the way we were able to. There came a time when we just couldn't travel to meet the customers. So we had to find different ways in connecting with the customers, like overnight, literally overnight when 9/11 hit. And then fast forward to, I don't know if you remember SARS, when there was a pandemic, when there was a real health scare, a global health scare in the mid 2000s. That grounded us again, and we had to find ways to communicate with our customers, to serve our customers who needed technical assistance, on-site assistance. You find ways to evolve that way. Economic downturns, political situations, all these things drive innovation, and these are the things that made us, not made us act. Necessity is the mother of invention, right? So we found different ways, as did our competitors, as did our partners, connecting with each other and with our customers, and made it easier and more efficient in as a side benefit. But really, it was about never leaving the customer without a way to get in touch with us.
Yeah, I think that's so true when you talk about the whole necessity is the mother of invention, of course. And I think through the stories that you just told, I think it's very evident one of the important skills that we have as humans, especially humans in business, is the ability to be flexible and adaptable. And, when business climate changes and, we are presented with some big challenge like 9/11 was for us, like SARS or COVID, a lot of issues like that, or economic downturns, et cetera. Question for you, when you think about, because I think of flexibility and adaptability as a soft, if you will, skill, or we call them power skills. If you could wave a magic wand and you could give your teams one soft skill, what is that soft skill that's like the most valuable to you in the work that you do, or the one skill you think is kind of missing that you would love to just be able to give everyone through magic?
I wish we could all be better listeners. If we could learn how to listen and not talk about ourselves so much. We're so proud of what we do. We are proud of who we are. We're proud to be a part of the PT family, and we have great products, and we can't wait to talk about them. We can't wait to whip open our laptop and have our beautiful corporate PowerPoint and start rambling on about that. It's 120 slides. But you know what? It's not about us, and I really, really wish that we were all better listeners.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you know us from meeting us at CamCon, and that's something we're pretty passionate about too. Is good listening, and it can be taught.
That's right. It's also it's amazing how tough it can be, especially when you look at kind of the frame of where we are today. I don't know if you've seen this technology, Anthony, of like Gong.io, where there are plugins now to Zoom software and Microsoft Teams, et cetera, that tells you how much you've been talking versus how much the other person's been talking. So it immediately lets you know, hey, you might be speaking too much. Maybe you should not do that while this conversation's going on. It will be interesting to see how much technology helps influence what we're supposed to be doing that sometimes we don't do very well.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
You are an engineer by trade, right?
Yes, I am. Yeah. So, this whole listening thing didn't come naturally to me either. Engineer by trade, joined a technology company. And when I joined, we didn't have a sales team. It was just a bunch of us wearing different hats, and we weren't specifically salespeople. We were just people that believed we had a great mousetrap to sell, and a great mousetrap sells itself, right? What do you need a salesperson to convince a customer that it has value? Come on, Mr. Customer, can't you just see the value by looking at it? This beautiful invention, So that was the attitude for the first. I guess the company was established in 1989. I joined in 1996. As I said, there was no official sales team until 1998. So up to 1998, from 89 to 98, was engineers presenting what the technology was and assuming the customer would be seduced just by these wonderful technical features.
Oh,
and that's how it was in those days.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
That and 120 slides, although we would do like
That's
booklet, right? It wasn't slides.
It
was
like a booklet.
Pieces of paper.
That's right.
Oh man,
Yes.
the number of trees we wasted back then.
Oh my
right?
gosh. We still do.
Absolutely. And our proposals were literally 60, 70 pages long, and we would print them out in duplicate, triplicate, and hand them out. And even when our customers would say, your proposals are too long, we don't read half of this, and they don't speak to us. Ask a bunch of engineers to write less technical things. This was a work in progress for decades, literally decades.
Yep, not happening. It's so true. They're just like, let's put more information on that and more information on the screen.
You know the type.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yes. As a person that comes from the IT space, oh man, we're guilty of all of that, right? Like just hundreds of slides and lots of content.
I think, you have to know your audience too.
Yes, that's right.
I think there's some people that would eat that up. They're probably a little rarer than the average person. I think everybody can relate to good storytelling, right?
Yeah.
Just what is the pain that you're experiencing and what would it mean to you if we could reduce that by X percent?
What's the value?
Yeah. What is that value and how, and tell a story and connect with them on a level that is meaningful for them in the job that they do. And that's kind of different. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, you've hit, I'm sorry, but you've hit the nail on the head. And this is what we've been trying to train our people. Even today, most of our sales team are not career salespeople. They are engineers who became salespeople. And in the training, it's about asking questions. Yes, we need to tell a story, but the story needs to resonate with your audience. And the only way to do that is to ask questions. Stop talking, ask questions, ask more questions. And one of our learnings from CamCon was, don't accept the first answer. You need to ask for follow-up questions in order to really get down to what resonates with client.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the quality of the question, right? I mean, it's one thing to say like, tell me, what keeps you up at night versus, tell me if even something like if you could wave a magic wand and fix what's going on at your company that is painful or, sapping revenue or whatever, what would that look like and what would that be is a very different kind of a question. And then of course, something like the 5 whys, well, why is that, and why do you think that is? And tell me more about that. Because a lot of times it's not even that first thing that comes out from a customer that's really what's going on. That's not the cause, right? That's not the root problem. It's something else. And so it does take a really good sleuther to kind of get to the heart of that.
And we get seduced by our own solutions, right? Yes. I don't know if you've had this experience, Anthony, but you immediately go into, I've seen this before and I know exactly how to solve. Like I know the solution.
It's true.
And it takes a lot of practice to step back and go, you know what, before we go solutioning, let's make sure we understand the whole problem as opposed to this one sliver of a problem that we think we can solve right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah. We need to be able to speak to the stakeholder. The solution needs to speak to the stakeholder and not to my perception of what he wants to hear.
100%.
So,
yep.
So Anthony, if you can think back to a team that you were on, and this may or may not be at Premier Tech, so that you don't need to call out names.
It's PT.
PT, that's right. that there were problems or challenges within the team, and you could go back and fix what was wrong. Now, in your perspective of, oh, I understand where things kind of went awry. Describe for us that situation and what you would do today that maybe should have been done, whether you were a leader or not, maybe you were just a part of that team, that would have helped really fix that.
That's a good question.
Oh my gosh, what a question. And we sometimes are reluctant to ask for help from outside. We're all a bunch of bright engineers and we think we can solve everything ourselves.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's good to get an outside opinion, a pair of fresh eyes that can take a look at your situation and coach you into some solutions and help you with your evolution, help us with our evolution, because maybe these outside consultants have seen this before. They've seen the pitfalls. We haven't seen the pitfalls, so we put our solution forward. We put our next steps in our evolution forward with the best of intentions. We're not dumb people. It's always well intended. But if we would have consulted with someone who's been through it before, some of the predictable pitfalls might have been avoided.
Yeah, look, I had to post about this fairly recently, where I wrote about this idea that we need to be sensitive to bringing in external eyes, that we oftentimes get so in our own zone and in our own way because we think we know and we're smart people and we know our business like no one else does, that nobody can tell me how to run my business and or run it better. And meanwhile, you're so close to it, you can't possibly see what others can see. And I think that's what's really important.
And I think one worries about the investment up front.
Sure.
Well, you know what?
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. We can figure this out on our own, not really realizing that the downstream, the size of the funnel gets huge at the end if you had spent a little money here, right? And exactly. It might have hurt to spend that little money right there. That's totally fine. It's just one of those things that, predicting that can be tough.
And thinking about that makes me I want to ask you this next question. When you think about just good decisions and good advice, what is the best piece of advice that you've ever been given in your career that still kind of resonates for you today?
Oh, I'll come back to what we talked about 10 minutes ago. Listen, ask questions and listen. I tell you what, I try to remember that in life, in my personal life, and in my professional life. I try to take that to heart. It's really to listen and hear what you're being told, and to have, it's the only way to have true empathy. You can't fake empathy, and so to have successful relationships in business or in life, it's all about listening and putting yourself in the other person's shoes.
Yeah, Gail.
What was that? I don't know what that was.
I'm just saying, listening.
Okay.
That's what it is, Gail.
Yeah. You said it.
It's going to get very awkward from a marital standpoint here,
it's
Tony.
It's super true, though. Let me just say this. I think, we've talked about it in some of our courses that we teach, and listening is one of those things that we think we do really well. And until we have technology that shows us we're not doing it really well by telling us we spoke 70% of the time. And also there's this great neuroscience to back up the fact that the reason we're not great at it, one of the many reasons, is our brain has the capacity to process around 800 words a minute, and we can only speak around 100 to 130 in American English, North American English. And so our brain has all this bandwidth and all this time to do things like, daydream, make judgments about what the other person is saying, seek out bias or determine, maybe they're wrong, disagree with them, judge them. All of these things our brain is doing while we're trying to listen, because of all that capacity to do other things. And so we have to work even harder to stay mindful and set ourselves up to avoid distractions, et cetera, to be really present. And I love that is something that is important to you and that you value. Same here for sure, because I'm a talker.
Yeah. And you know what? I'll be the first to admit, it took me a long time to really, I've been told it many times through my career, and it took me a long time before I started to live that way. It's not reflex. I have to remind myself, but I don't mind doing that now. It's good, and I understand the value, and this is the thing that I just try to keep at the front of mind all the time.
I love that.
That's the sign of a good leader, Anthony. We appreciate that. That's great. The people around you, I'll bet, appreciate that as well. Yes. So we have one more question for you, Anthony, as we're kind of winding up our conversation, and that is, what are you excited about? What are you looking forward to? What's something that just has really got you jazzed up about,
making you happy,
that's coming up for you that you'd love to share?
Well, it's things evolve so quickly. We're introducing AI more and more, and connectivity more and more, so that our customers can connect when they want to connect, and they can be coached automatically. They don't even have to call us, and they can be coached in fine tuning and troubleshooting, using various types of technology, whether it be AI or self-diagnostics or things like this. So this whole, I don't know if it's part of the 4.0 industry 4.0 wave, but I'll tell you what, it's super exciting, and it's evolving so quickly. Some days I think we're behind the curve, and then I realize, no, we're doing our best to keep up, and we're probably always going to be behind the curve because it's evolving so rapidly. What I like is we're not putting our heads in the sand. We're not burying our heads in the sand over this. We're embracing it. We're open to any and all things that will help make our customer experience better. It's all about the customer experience, and we're big into that. And I'm really excited about it.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Great.
I know it's a
Anthony.
lot of people complain about the whole AI side of things, and I personally, I love it when, as a customer, if I don't have to talk to someone and I can just kind of figure it out on my own through tools they give me, whether that's, a chat feature or, self-diagnosis or whatever. I love that so much. And I love the options, right? That I could call someone, I can do a search in an FAQ, I can do a chat, whatever it is, because we need that. We need a multitude of ways to be able to solve those problems. So that's fabulous.
We've all been through it, right? In our personal life, you use the automated chat first, and when that doesn't work, okay, now you know what? I think I want to speak to someone live just to get through this, and then the good experience is you get to that person live quickly, and the frustrating experience is you don't get to that live person when you need to. And so we keep that in back of mind. We obviously we want the automated features to work, but it won't work all the time. So we want to make sure that there is someone accessible at all times as well. We don't want to hide behind any one path. There's got to be multiple paths to get your help, and we're big on that.
I love that. It's been such a pleasure chatting with you, Anthony. Thank you so much.
Yeah, really great chatting with you. Really great chatting.
And congrats on the long time that you've been with PT.
28 years, my goodness.
I'm a lifer.
You must have, what were you, like 5 when you started?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, he was.
Oh, bless you. Just thank you. Yes.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks. Well, we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thanks,
Take
Anthony.
care.
I look forward to it. Thank you.
Awesome.